we're going to go back to Anantasana and we're going to put our leg in tree pose, okay? So the reason we're doing that mainly, first of all, just to change our relationship to gravity. So the body works, so we're visiting the shape, but in a different context. So the muscles will work differently. So that's why you can visit tree pose. You're not going to fall down. You're a fallen tree. You're already down, okay? But what happens for some of us, so when we go to tree pose, and some of it has to do with the length of our inner thighs. So it's a process of elongating these muscles. We don't want to force it. But our knee might be quite far forward. And if this were the leg that if this were my Ardha Chandrasana standing leg, let's just imagine for a moment that I'm doing Ardha Chandrasana, and this is my standing leg, okay? So do you see how the hip would be out in relationship to this leg? So in Ardha Chandrasana, it's like, okay, if I'm doing, say, Trikonasana, right? You can imagine my pelvis here. I come to Ardha Chandrasana, look at this relationship of this thigh and this leg, and then if I come back and I'm doing tree pose, do you see how it's basically that same relationship? Okay, so if this knee is quite far forward and the buttock is going back, then I'm going to be in this Ardha Chandrasana, right, guys? And that, so we're just kind of reminding ourselves, oh, I'm not standing on that leg, but it's like I'm standing on that leg, okay? So when we're doing Anantasana, we're going to place our leg like tree pose. So now we can't really fall down. I mean, you can lie on your back or whatever, but you're going to take this hand just in front of the knee and learn to press the knee back. So you're extending from the groin to the inner thigh to the knee as you draw that outer hip at the back in. So from the side, I might start like this and kind of sleepy in the buttock area. So I have to remind myself to, as I press the knee back, to engage right here. Do you guys see the difference? So your knee might not be straight up to the ceiling, but you're asking these muscles back here to work, okay? So that's adding the rotational element. We were working on our lateral buttocks. Now we're adding the rotational piece. Got it? So let's try that lying down because it might be easier than standing. So put your hands on your hips, come near the front of your mat, feet apart. Lift your toes for right now. Okay, you can also have your toes down, but let's just lift them and spread them. That's it. So we're giving the toes a chance to yawn, if you will. Right? And then take them down, look up, exhale, come forward, place your hands down. So you can bend your knees if necessary to get your hands down, palms down on the floor. That's it, on your mat. And then you can bend your knees, it's permitted right now, and then step your feet back. So that when you get your entire palm down to step back, you might have to bend your knees in order to do that. Because the hand is like the foot, and we want to have the whole hand down on the floor when we're weight bearing on the hands. Okay, now look forward. We're going to come to that all fours position with our knees touching the floor at the same moment. So slowly come down. That's it. And then when you come to your abdomen, make sure that your pelvis doesn't land before your chest. So squeeze those elbows in, move your shoulders away from your ears, and keep your mind, Mary, start lowering your shoulders now. That's it. That's it. So you come in one piece to the floor. Great. Take your arms over your head, roll onto your left side. Now we're going to vrksasana in Anantasana. All right? So you're going to crawl the left arm out on the floor. Bend your right leg. Put your foot up into the groin. Okay, now put the back of your right hand close to the knee. Depends on your arm length. Okay, now press your right shoulder back and press your right, extend from your inner right groin to the knee. And as you press the knee back, move that center buttock and even the area below forward towards the person in front of you. So it's a double action, knee back and sitting bone or tailbone forward, the right back lower buttock region. Sorry. So Mary, this is better on the floor. Yes. You have the range of motion on the floor, so that's good to see. Keep your heel pressing. The heel. There you are, a fallen tree. Okay, now let's come back to our belly. Release your knee, release your arm, come back to your abdomen, and let's try our other side. So this just gives us a chance to not have to work the balance. Though you're working your balance, the stakes are lower, wouldn't you say? Okay, so bring your foot up into the groin. Still a balance pose, though. So because our arm is not on the floor, so you're lengthening the right side now as you put your hand on that inner knee. Roll your right shoulder back, press your right knee back, and then as you do that, take your two sitting bones. Imagine that you can bring the muscles between your two sitting bones towards the center of your pelvic floor, the tailbone and the pubic bone towards each other. So you're really giving yourself a firm foundation right at your root chakra, Muladhara chakra. Try to keep the abdomen moving back so we're not balancing by pushing the abdomen forward. You're doing very well with this. So we're going to try this, taking this a little further. So take that center buttock in as you press the knee back. What is your first name?
Carol.
Carol. Okay, and then release and come back to your abdomen. Why don't we take this to the full pose, shall we? So put your hands by your ribs. You're going to come back to all fours in one piece. Okay, so you might have to take your hands a little forward. That can help. But as you start to press down through your hands, keep your tops of your arms rolling away from the floor, those elbows squeezing in, and now lift your lower ribs off the floor as you lift your abdomen up so that let's try that one more time. Come down. Oh, let's do that again, Maria. So if the pelvis lands first, you've come down in pieces. Okay? Now when we come up, the tendency will be to press the belly and ribs down and lift the shoulders, right? And the pelvis stays down. So let's try not to do that right now. So as you start to press your hands down, lift your entire abdominal wall up off the floor. That's it. Yes, elbows in, Carol. Okay. All right, now you can sit back on your heels with your toes tucked under. Your knees are okay with that, everyone? All right, so I'm going to show you Anantasana. So in Anantasana, we will do the whole pose now. So we're going to take this top arm and bring the hand just behind your ear and take a hold of the big toe and then engage that foot. So the tendency will be for the foot to do something like this. You see how I'm overstretching that outer foot? So I have to re-engage and keep the bottom leg sharp and begin to extend my leg up to the ceiling, towards the ceiling. And you all will see if you need a strap or not. But the tendency sometimes is we think that it's about bringing the foot towards the head. And as I bring the foot towards the head, what can happen? Do you see what happens to my buttock? Okay. So the action for us today, because we're using this for our Ardha Chandrasana, will be to press the foot away from the head and to bring that outer buttock in, the back of this buttock, towards the person in front of me, just as you did when your leg was bent. And then I try to press the inner edge of the foot up towards the ceiling so that I'm making space for that hip to come in. Does that make sense? Now let's say that you need a strap. Well, you could use one, but the other thing, case can be made for just holding the weight of the leg by the leg. So if taking your foot towards your head means you lose your hip, then back off from the range of motion and work the stability end. Okay? So let's try. So one last time, we're going to do the whole Anantasana, and then we're going to try it standing up. So come to your belly, come down to your abdomen in one piece, elbows in, Carol. Good. Great. It's easier going down, isn't it, than coming up? Much, yeah. Gravity's your friend here. Shoulders away from the ears, Mary. That's it. Okay, now take your arms over your head, roll onto your left side. Okay, elongate. Take this opportunity to elongate the left side. All right, now bend your right knee, and before you come up, take your attention to that bottom foot and sharpen it as if you were standing on it. Okay, and then take a hold of the big toe. Oh, thank you. Just take yourself back down again, everyone. Thanks, Mary. Right, put your hand behind your head. We haven't done this yet, but it's really nice for the shoulder. Okay, so it's challenging because the outer armpit starts to come up. So just like on that bottom leg, attempt to take the bottom of the back of the outer knee down to the floor and the armpit towards the floor. Now bend your leg, take hold of your big toe with your right hand, and then pause there and sharpen your right heel and the inner edge of your right foot. That's it. Begin the process of straightening your right leg little by little. It gets a little more challenging when we increase the range of motion. And then gradually straighten the leg, and then if you can glance towards your feet, you'll see that for many of us what's happening is that right buttock is going back. Okay, yeah, you might fall over. So press up through the inner edge of your right big toe, press your right foot away from your head, and attempt to bring that left buttock away from your head, the right buttock, sorry, away from your head and deeper in. Yes, so you come up onto that hip. Now everyone slowly release, stay there, Susanna. So slowly release your foot, but keep your leg up. Keep your leg up. Hold that leg up so you get this feeling. Now hold that yourself. Yes, okay. Press your left thigh back and bring that right buttock forward. All right, and then slowly lower your leg. Slowly lower your leg. So we have to come up this way, right? Okay, now when you take your leg down, keep that buttock in, you're gonna reach out and keep the buttock in. Reach out and keep, yes! So there's somewhere along the way when you have that connection, all right? So let's try our other side. All right, so roll back to your belly and come over to the other side. So Anantasana is infinite pose. What's the sutra where that appears? Rosa, do you remember? Prayatna Shaitilya Ananta Samapatibhyam. Bend your right arm and put it behind your head. So prayatna is persevering effort. Okay. Shaitilya is laxity or relaxation. So when the effort becomes effortless, so that paradox of effortless effort, then we feel infinity within ourselves. So we're right on this line. It's paradoxical. You're balancing, and yet you're trying to relax. A relaxed state of alertness. Okay, now let's keep the bottom leg sharp. So don't let that bottom leg take a nap. Even though you're lying down, it's not Shavasana. Okay, and then take a hold of your big toe with your left hand. And yeah, your hip might go back to get your foot. That's fine. That happens. But then sharpen your feet again, those inner heels, and begin that process of straightening your leg. Go slow. That's it. That's it. And then finally, you're bringing your foot up. And you can notice when you look towards your leg that our buttocks are going back. Do you feel that? So press your foot towards me. Bring your left leg away from your head and attempt, as you press it away from your head, as you press up through that inner left foot, bring the center of the left buttock forward. And this is excellent what Mary's doing. So everybody release your foot and do like Mary. Bring your leg away from your head and get the center buttock to come in. Bring the leg away from your head. Less range of motion, more integration. Yes. And then slowly lower your leg. And as it comes down, you've got to move that center buttock in. Carol, so reach the leg out. Now come up onto that hip because that's your Ardha Chandrasana. That's it. And then come back to your abdomen. Rest there for a moment. Put your head on your hands and take a little break.